Another huge usage of YouTube is entertainment. And clearly, everybody knows who Mr. Beast is. Trust me, there is a creator for everyone. There is in-depth information about any category, purple snowballs in the Netherlands, whatever it is, you can find somebody who has published information about it on YouTube. But that is absolutely not why we are here today. We are here to talk about why YouTube matters for business, because business has a very unique opportunity in the usage of YouTube. So the really important thing to remember is that 68% of shoppers use YouTube to research their purchases in advance of purchasing. And over 40% of people will discover something on YouTube that they will ultimately buy. So these views are not passive. They're very high intent searches, making a decision or getting information before you make a buying decision. So it's also really worth noting, because many people don't understand this or don't recognize this, YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world, second only to their parent, Google. And additionally, and this just happened fairly recently within the last couple of years, YouTube became the number 1 streaming platform. It's bigger than Netflix. It's bigger than Paramount. It's bigger than Hulu. It's bigger than the combination of all broadcast and linear in terms of total hours of streaming. So it's huge. So your buyers are already on YouTube. No question about it. And this is actually true for business to consumer buyers as well as it is for business to business buyers. People are also often astonished by that. Over 70% of B2B buyers watch videos before they're making a purchasing decision for their business. So that's pretty impactful. What are they doing there? They're watching explainer videos. They're comparing their options. They're looking for pricing context. They are figuring out what is the best option for them and getting more information before they make a buying decision. Demos, usage, unboxings, all kinds of things like that. But that's not only what they're doing. They're validating. Once they've narrowed down to the point of making, maybe I've got a couple of options that I'm considering, and this is consumers as well as business to business, they're looking for social proof. And that is almost always a pillar of every program that we put together, is that you need to have social proof in your content portfolio. And what is social proof? User-generated content, reviews, testimonials, real people talking about their experience with your product or service. So video has changed the search world completely, put it completely on its ear. And the reason for that is that people prefer video over written content. When they're looking for something quick, they want to watch. They don't want to read. We could have a complete conversation on the side another day, maybe, about whether that's good or bad, because a lot of people, and myself included, think that often isn't great. However, it is the fact. It is true fact. 2 to 3 times higher click-throughs on video SERPs. So what does that mean? Everybody's pretty familiar with Google. When you Google something, you often get the sponsored ads at the top, and those are absolutely recognized. They're labeled as such. And then below that, you get what are called the organic searches. Those are the organic search results, rather. Those are the results that are earned. They weren't paid for. Their content, whatever it is, has earned them the right to get that ranking for that search result. And that is why Google prioritizes video carousels and YouTube search results in their organic ranking. And the reason for that, there are video carousels within YouTube as well. So that is exactly why they do it. They are a business for profit. No surprises here. And they want the click-throughs. Every time someone clicks through on Google, they make money, right? So that is the whole point of it. Here's another phenomenon that has happened that has made search really revolutionary. 86% of TV viewers double screen. So that means while they're sitting on with their popcorn or whatever watching TV, they will have another device in their lap. See what David's doing right here? Exactly. A smartphone, a laptop, a tablet. And that gives them that immediate access to search. And they do. They search in droves. They see an ad. They're curious. Is this real? I want to see a little testimonial about it. I'll have a question. Does it come in blue or green and not red? That's the kind of thing that they search on. So YouTube shows up in YouTube search, within YouTube search, within Google search at a very high rate, and now in AI answers as well. One huge misconception that most business people have is that YouTube is a push platform. YouTube is not a push platform. Businesses think that if I upload a video, then the algorithm is just going to push it out to all the right people. It's not what happens. YouTube is a matching platform. YouTube's algorithm tries to match your video to the appropriate audience. So the big problem that we see in our business for our clients that we start with is that most companies absolutely start in the wrong place. They start and make a video based on all the wrong reasons. What leadership wants to say, what just launched in their product line, what's trending on, what are the trends in social media, other internal priorities. And the problem is that's not how people search. They are not looking at what people are actually searching for, what their target market is actually searching for. So it really boils down to, this isn't a content problem. The problem is a discovery problem. So what drives that visibility? What drives those searches those views, I should say, to your video? So at a very high level, YouTube is doing two things. It's trying to understand what your content is all about and who it should be shown to, all right? And the way you teach the algorithm that is by properly titling, describing, and tagging your content. When you do that well for the content of your video, the algorithm gets it. They know who you are and who you should be serving, who to serve it to. And then once you put up a well-optimized piece of content, it's measured. And this is how you beat your competitor, because you get a great click-through rate, you get a good average view duration, and you get great engagement. And those are the things that the algorithm is also looking for. So the question really has to change. I'm back around to that. Why isn't YouTube pushing our videos? Wrong question. Why would the right person, my right target, choose to watch this video? All right, that's the question that you need to be asking up front before you plan your content. So most businesses, especially in small businesses and big market businesses, are missing this opportunity. And as a matter of fact, many enterprise level businesses are missing this opportunity as well. They just aren't getting the existing demand that is available to them because they're not planning correctly. They're not asking the right questions. They don't have the data. What we see right now across the board in YouTube is this massive land grab. And it's very, very similar to back in the day of the domain name acquisition push. Remember in the very beginning when all the websites started coming up? And so this goes back a little ways, but there were these groups that went out and grabbed up huge numbers of website URLs. And now, boy, talk about smart and seeding it for the future. They paid $2 for it and they can sell it for $5,000. Pretty impressive. So that is the exact same kind of thing that's happening right now with YouTube. The smart early players in business are grabbing their content and grabbing their ranking and grabbing that demand. And it's much, much harder to push them up than it is to get started and grab it early. But here's the good news. There's room. There's definitely room for everyone, and there's room to grow, and it's working very well for many businesses. So how do you turn YouTube into a business growth engine? Think of it as a system, and it's not just about content. Identify the demand. Create content aligned with that search behavior. Answer those questions in your content. Optimize for discovery and performance. So you're tagging, titling, describing well, and then amplify that through distribution. And then you're scaling what works. It's a rinse and repeat and pivot when you need to. So one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand about YouTube that really, really separates it is that it is a compounding, snowballing media. All right. Very unlike any other social media and certainly unlike paid advertising. All right. This is owned, organic, earned media rather than short-term paid rented media. So what happens is that when you perform well, you use the proper strategies, you implement consistently within YouTube, it compounds. Every time you publish a new video, it actually feeds the videos you published before it. It will continue to rank. So we see this incredible, when it's really organized and done to the strategy, you just see this incredible ramp up in views. So it's not just about what you publish, it's also about who's talking about you. So this is something that's a little newer. We've been doing this for a number of years, but it's starting to catch on. I'll explain what that's all about. We call it off-page marketing. Off-page marketing has a multiplier effect on your YouTube channel and your YouTube videos. So this is all about where the conversations are existing and happening outside of YouTube and linking back to the YouTube video. So high authority sites like Reddit, Quora, Facebook, other niche communities where they are sharing content and talking amongst themselves because they're interested in the niche are having these conversations. And when they share the video to each other and YouTube sees that traffic coming from outside, it just ranks your content much more quickly. Because YouTube, let me remind you of this, is a business for profit. And it wants to have people on the platform. It wants to have them stay there as long as they can and click through as many things as possible. So how has this changed things? It's just absolutely driving more people to YouTube and keeping them there longer. And all of that external traffic signal amplifies your reach. So not only do you have to, produce good content, optimize it properly, get on a reasonable cadence with publishing, but also if you do this off-page external work, it will also help. All of these things help. The way that citations happen in the LLMs is that they search for and scrape for these really high authority sites for these conversations and indications around your brand or around your category, or around your solution. All right. And so AI relies on that. When they see a great quality YouTube video that's getting traction, conversations in Reddit, conversations in this Facebook community over here, your chances of getting ranking and getting cited in AI get much, much higher. And so that is super, super important. It's a huge side benefit of the off-page work, and it's newer because AI is newer, right? The other huge benefit, of course, you get the YouTube ranking, which is important. But the other benefit that I always like to mention is that when you see this conversations happening in these off-page places, you're reaching people that maybe never would see your video, right? They maybe never would make their way over to YouTube. Not everybody clicks through. We all know that. So you're also reaching an audience that's heavily engaged in your category, in your content, in your discussion. So here's a case study because, show me the money, right? Does this actually really work? Well, yes, it does. It does actually really work. This is a client that we have had for a very long time. We started publishing for them in 2008, back a long time ago. And we basically put together a strategy. They're a health and wellness account. And they have an e-commerce site. We put together a strategy and created a YouTube channel, happened to be a non-branded YouTube channel. And then we applied all of our best practices to that, the right kind of content, the right cadence, optimizing properly, and we matched it with our off-page marketing work. So we went out and I call it stirring the pot. We went out and stirred the pot outside of YouTube. So what happened? Within 6 months, we had some pretty phenomenal results. We were able to gain the number 1, number 2, and number 5 positions for high value terms within YouTube search. So that's huge. This is a very, very crowded category. We had amazing channel growth, 12,000, just under 12,000 subs from 0 in 6 months and 3 million views. Pretty impressive. Now, Show me the money. How did that convert to this bottom line? 2,400 total orders on their e-commerce site. 1,500-ish new to file customers, just happens to be a KPI that this particular client really cares about. They want first-time buyers to come to their site and buy something because they're a remarketing machine. And so that first-time customer is critical to them. And then about just a little bit under $110,000 in revenue in a 6-month period. And so what was the outcome? We met their acquisition goal. We built a scalable, ongoing revenue-generating YouTube channel. That channel today is still driving revenue. So pretty exciting. We continued. They said, give us more. We said, sure. Rolled out about 40 additional channels, and that was all within a 6-month time frame. And I can tell you, for that particular client, hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. So it's pretty exciting. And YouTube was a little bit younger. Does it happen quite this fast for everybody? Not necessarily. This is a national business. So, anybody anywhere can buy from them, but it really tells you how impactful YouTube can be. At the end of the day, you have to start in the right place. The question you should not be asking is, should we do a video? The question you should be asking is, are we capturing demand that already exists? There's a lot of low-hanging fruit, and this is all keyword related, and you need to do this research, and that's something that we offer. But at the end of the day, you need to ask that question. Are we capturing demand that already exists? Thank you.